I like to roll my spine on a Ma roller every day to massage my paravertebrals and to bring relaxation to my back, especially at the beginning of a yoga session. I feel that body parts are best primed for stretching when the muscles pulling on them are relaxed and warm. I like to begin by positioning the Ma roller just above my iliac crest and SI joints, not on the bony part, but on the fleshy part of the paraspinals, as close to the iliac crest as possible. From there, I roll the Ma roller onto my sacrum and downwards to loosen the ligaments joining the 5 sacral bones. I roll to a place near the bottom of my sacrum. When it feels right to reverse, I roll back up the sacrum, back to the fleshy part just above the iliac crest. Pause, then continue up the spine until the Ma roller seems to lose pressure and effectiveness somewhere in the cervical region. When it feels right to reverse, I roll back down along the spine to finish at the most inferior fleshy part, just superior to the iliac crest. Throughout my entire rolling journey, I roll slowly, pausing and relaxing at many intermediate points. By pausing and relaxing, that gives the Ma roller a chance to really dig deep into the muscles. There's nothing exact about where I pause. I pause at different intermediate points each day, wherever feels right at the moment. There you can see that I've just reversed direction to start rolling up the sacrum, and then I'll continue once I get past the sacrum up to the fleshy part just above the iliac crest. I'll continue rolling up the spine all the way up to the cervical spine. I want to take some time now to explain my approach and why I feel reluctant to use the word yoga to encapsulate what I do. My approach is mechanistic, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So I designed my protocol as a way to heal from athletic injury and to supplement my Ironman triathlon training. I do not try to use this practice for muscular strength. Now, some of my students complain that it's strenuous for them, but that's not what I'm striving for at all. I'm looking just to get deep, intense stretches into the fascia. So in some cases that involves some muscular effort, but I actually avoid the efforting unless it's imperative for that needed stretch. Actually, in my view, every moment of yoga practice should involve ease. So again, I do not use this practice for muscular strength. Also, I do not try to use it for spiritual development. I get those aspects of my life from other places. Rather, I use this practice primarily for stretching and for opening the lines of fascia in the body, and my approach is largely mechanistic. To get deep into the fascia, I often hold a particular posture for a long time or proceed through a progression which gets progressively deeper into the fascia, sometimes with more intense effort. So I use the word yoga to refer to what I do for a couple reasons. One reason is that a lot of my current methodology has grown out of my study and practice of yoga. And another reason is that it is a simple way for people to get a general sense of what I do by me using just a single word. The word yoga literally means union. As an example, this sentence in Hindi, Ik Yog Ik Do Hai, translates to 1 plus 1 equals 2. The word yog in this sentence translates to the word plus, and the word yog in English comes from the Sanskrit word yoga. Indeed, yoga refers to union with God. Now, yoga is a spiritual path as described in the Sutra of Patanjali. He delineated the Ashtanga, the 8 limbs of yoga. The first 2 limbs are related to preparation and purification. The third limb is yogasana. Now, I can loosely say that the entirety of what is called yoga, as taught and practiced currently in the United States, all of that is part of this third limb. The purpose of the third limb is to prepare the body for the fourth limb. The fourth limb is learning how to breathe in preparation for the higher limbs, which relate to meditation towards enlightenment. So, one reason that I feel reluctant to use the word yoga is that I'm not following strictly that ancient path. Now, my mechanistic approach applies many principles from the yogic system and uses many asana exactly as in the ancient tradition. Yet, I have developed my own protocol, which is very effective for the needs of my body. Now, I'll tell you a brief summary of how and why I developed my spinal decompression protocol and how I know that it is supremely effective and that it really, really gets results. Well, there was a time some years ago when I was unable to walk. I was confined to bed for a week at a time in severe pain. Even as I healed in subsequent months, it was painful for me to walk, to stand, and especially to sit. With some help from chiropractics as well as other modalities, I slowly gained the ability to help myself. As my body became capable, I stretched and did yoga every day. And each day I could do more and more. And at that time I had already been teaching yoga for more than 10 years. But then I started reading books about back pain, sciatica, healing strategies for back pain, yoga for back pain, etc. I also consulted with numerous chiropractors, physical therapists, health practitioners, healers, yoga instructors, etc. I continued reading books and researching online and consulting for years. I'm still learning now. While I was reading and learning, I incorporated all of my new knowledge into my daily practice, which was between 300 to 500 hours per year. So my body got better and better. Over time, I learned what helped and what hurt. After some years, I got to a point where I can again seriously train for Ironman. Over time, I organized this body of knowledge into a system which I'm calling my Spinal Decompression Protocol. As I was developing this protocol, I shared parts of it with some friends. They told me about the amazing results they got from just 1 hour or 1 hour per day for a few days, and how it enlivened their bodies for the whole day, how they felt so much better, how their bodies flowed better, and how their minds were relaxed and awakened. Then I had an unfortunate opportunity to experience for myself how effective my own protocol is. In January 2019, I started focusing my time and energy on my CBD business. It was a great business to be in. I worked on it all day, from when I got up in the morning until I went to sleep at night. Of course, there were other parts of my life, like eating, but overall, I neglected my body and did very little exercise and almost no yoga or any of my protocol for months. One day, in July, I started feeling some back pain, or some pain in my back, and because I had been through a similar scenario a few times several years earlier, I recognized some early warning signs. I knew that if I continued as I had been, I would soon be in pain in bed and unable to walk. And so I guess that I could say that I was lucky this time. I recognized the early warning signals and I knew what to do. I needed to follow my own protocol. So I started that day. My body was so tense that I could not do much without great pain. So I did what I could. The next day I was able to do a little more. And after a few days, my body was well on its way to a healthy recovery. About a week later, my body was doing quite well. At that point already, my ability was impressive to my friends, and it was astounding to me that I could turn things around so quickly. I realized I really had a chance to see that my protocol really works wonders if I actually follow it. And that is the key. It only works if you actually do it. So after a few weeks, my body was healed so well that I started cycling and running and getting into triathlon training again.